Listen to the silence. In a world saturated with engines, alerts, and voices competing for attention, there exists a place where sound retreats and meaning rushes in. Far above the Arctic Circle, at 78 degrees north, lies Svalbard, Norway's northernmost archipelago, suspended between civilization and the polar void, midway between mainland Norway and the North Pole, yet emotionally closer to the edge of the known world than to any capital city. Spanning 61,000 square kilometers, Svalbard is not a single island, but a scattered constellation of land and ice. 9 major islands, dozens of smaller ones, and countless skerries locked in seasonal embrace with the Arctic Ocean. Spitsbergen, the largest island, rises as the human anchor of this realm, hosting settlements like Longyearbyen, home to roughly 2,900 residents, making it the world's northernmost town with a population exceeding 1,000. Here, there are no trees, no roads connecting towns, and no margin for complacency. This landscape is shaped by extremes. More than 60% of Svalbard is covered by glaciers, some flowing directly into fjords where ice calves into the sea with thunderous finality. Beneath the surface lies permafrost reaching depths of up to 500 meters, preserving everything from prehistoric soils to Cold War infrastructure, and even human remains, which do not decompose in the frozen ground. Summers are brief and fragile, with temperatures hovering between 5 and 7 degrees Celsius, while winters descend into darkness and cold, often plunging below -30 degrees, accompanied by katabatic winds that scour the valleys. Yet Svalbard is far from lifeless. This is a polar ecosystem of precision, where survival depends on timing, adaptation, and restraint. Svalbard reindeer, smaller and stockier than their mainland relatives, graze year-round on lichens and mosses, their metabolism tuned to scarcity. Arctic foxes, their coats shifting from brown to white with the seasons, roam vast territories scavenging seabird colonies and polar bear leftovers. Along the cliffs of fjords like Isfjorden and Hornsund, millions of seabirds, including little auks, guillemots, and kittiwakes, nest in deafening summer colonies, transforming silence into sudden life. And then there is the apex presence. Svalbard is home to more polar bears than people, an estimated 300 to 1,000 individuals, depending on seasonal migration. Here, humans are required by law to carry protection when venturing outside settlements, not to dominate nature, but to acknowledge their vulnerability within it. Governance in this frozen world is as unique as its ecology. Under the Svalbard Treaty of 1920, signed by 46 nations, Norway holds sovereignty, but with strict conditions. The archipelago is demilitarized, nuclear-free, and open to economic and scientific activity by all signatory states. This has made Svalbard a rare geopolitical anomaly, an international Arctic commons dedicated largely to research, environmental monitoring, and conservation. Today, Svalbard is one of the most closely studied regions on Earth. Scientists track atmospheric chemistry, glacier mass balance, ocean circulation, and wildlife populations, using the archipelago as an early warning system for planetary change. The findings are sobering. Svalbard is warming at 6 to 7 times the global average, making it one of the fastest warming places on the planet. Its glaciers alone are estimated to be losing around 50 billion tons of ice annually, contributing directly to global sea level rise and altering Arctic Ocean currents. But this is not just a story of loss. Over the next half hour, we journey with glaciologists measuring retreating ice fronts, biologists tagging seabirds, and historians retracing the footsteps of early explorers. Men like Willem Barents, whose 16th century expeditions first mapped these coasts, and later trappers and miners who learned, often painfully, that Svalbard tolerates arrogance. We will hear from modern guardians of this place, park rangers, scientists, and residents, who live with strict environmental regulations, limited infrastructure, and a profound respect for the land's limits. Tourism here is not consumption. It is permission-based presence, designed to minimize footprint and maximize understanding. And as our journey reaches its quiet climax, we stand beneath the midnight sun, a phenomenon that bathes Svalbard in continuous daylight for 4 months each year. Time loosens. Shadows vanish. The mind slows. In that unending light, silence becomes instruction. Svalbard does not shout its importance. It whispers it, through melting ice, shifting species, and vanishing seasons. This is not merely a destination. It is a message from the future, carried on Arctic wind. Welcome to Norway's Svalbard, where the silence speaks and the earth asks us to listen. To truly understand Svalbard's spell, we must peel back the ice and descend into the deep time beneath our boots, into a geological and ecological story written across hundreds of millions of years. Svalbard was born long before ice ruled the Arctic. Around 400 million years ago, during the Caledonian orogeny, titanic continental collisions welded together fragments of what are now Greenland, Scandinavia, and northern Europe. These forces raised mountain chains comparable to today's Himalayas, their eroded remnants still visible in Svalbard's jagged peaks and folded strata. The archipelago now rests on the Barents Sea continental shelf, making it geologically closer to Europe than to the drifting Arctic Ocean that surrounds it. This ancient foundation is a mosaic of eras. Devonian red sandstones, laid down by rivers in a semi-arid climate, paint valleys in rust and ochre. Above them lie carboniferous coal seams, formed in lush swamp forests when Svalbard sat near the equator, coal that would later drive mining towns like Longyearbyen and Barentsburg in the 20th century. Overlaying everything are younger limestones, shales, and glacial sediments, records of oceans advancing and retreating again and again as Earth's climate oscillated. Today, that deep history underpins one of the planet's most extreme ecosystems. Svalbard is classified as a polar desert. Despite its ice and snow, it receives less annual precipitation than many subtropical regions. Only about 7% of the land supports vegetation, and even that clings precariously to life. Soils are thin, nutrient-poor, and underlain by permafrost that prevents deep rooting. Yet where conditions allow, life persists with astonishing resilience. Low-growing plants like purple saxifrage, Svalbard's floral emblem, bloom mere weeks after snowmelt, completing their life cycles in a compressed Arctic summer. Polar willow, one of the world's northernmost woody plants, hugs the ground in creeping mats, its branches no taller than a finger. Mosses and lichens carpet sheltered slopes, growing just millimeters per year, organisms so slow to recover that a single careless footprint can leave scars lasting decades. And still, biodiversity flourishes. Each summer, the skies fill as more than 200 bird species migrate north to exploit the brief explosion of productivity. Little auks, numbering in the millions, arrive to breed in vast colonies, transporting marine nutrients inland through their guano, fertilizing tundra plants and sustaining terrestrial food webs. Puffins, guillemots, kittiwakes, and Arctic terns crowd the cliffs, transforming silent fjords into roaring amphitheaters of life. The surrounding seas are even richer. Cold, nutrient-laden currents support plankton blooms that feed krill and copepods, the foundation of the Arctic marine ecosystem. Walruses haul out on ice floes and beaches, their tusks and bulk relics of a lineage shaped by ice. Minke whales, humpbacks, and belugas patrol the fjords, while seals, ringed, bearded, and harp, depend on sea ice for breeding and rest. Above them all stands the Arctic's apex predator, the Barents Sea polar bear population, estimated at around 3,000 individuals, ranges across Svalbard, eastern Greenland, and Arctic Russia. On the islands themselves, bears outnumber humans, a stark inversion of the global norm. More than symbols, they are sentinel species, their health reflecting the stability of sea ice systems that underpin the entire Arctic food chain. As ice seasons shorten and hunting grounds shrink, polar bears offer some of the clearest biological evidence of climate stress in real time. It is within this living laboratory that modern exploration unfolds. Scientist-led expeditions now form the backbone of meaningful travel to Svalbard, blending discovery with stewardship. In 2025, the Temple Fjord expedition, organized by the Arctic Research Group and led by glaciologists from the Norwegian Polar Institute, focused on one of Spitsbergen's most studied fjords, a 30 kilometers arm of Isfjorden bordered by retreating glaciers. Using drones, GPS surveys, and remote sensing, teams mapped glacier fronts and tracked wildlife movements with unprecedented precision. Ice cores extracted from valley glaciers revealed climate records spanning nearly 1,000 years, confirming that average temperatures in the region have risen by approximately 0.5 degrees Celsius since 1900, with the most dramatic acceleration occurring in the last 4 decades. Annual ice loss in the fjord alone was calculated at volumes equivalent to thousands of Olympic-sized swimming pools, a tangible measure of Arctic transformation. Parallel efforts unfold at sea. Expeditions like Quark expeditions, Svalbard in summer, tundra, whales, and wildlife. An 11-day voyage aboard ice-strengthened research vessels, partner directly with marine biologists. Guests assist in spotting and logging beluga whales, bearded seals, and seabird colonies, while onboard lectures unpack emerging threats such as ocean acidification, which weakens the shells of plankton species critical to Arctic food webs. Meanwhile, HX Hurtigruten expeditions deploy hybrid electric ships, reducing emissions by up to 20% and allowing near-silent approaches to wildlife zones. Zodiac landings are carefully timed and limited, enabling close observation of nesting cliffs and tundra without overwhelming them. Across all responsible operators, strict protocols apply. Under AECO, the Association of Arctic Expedition Cruise Operators, guidelines travelers must maintain a minimum 200-meter distance from polar bears, avoid trampling moss beds, and adhere to group limits at landing sites. Winter travel increasingly relies on electric snowmobiles, while summer exploration favors kayaks and hiking, minimizing noise and fuel use. These expeditions are not about conquest or consumption. They are about witnessing change, documenting it, and carrying that knowledge beyond the Arctic. Svalbard's allure lies not in spectacle alone, but in perspective. It is a place where geology reminds us of Earth's vast age, ecology reveals life's fragility, and science exposes the speed at which balance can unravel. Here, the Arctic does not roar its warning. It offers data. It shows patterns. It whispers truths written in ice. And those who listen, truly listen, leave transformed. Beneath Svalbard's stillness lies motion, subtle, relentless, and revealing a land still rebounding from the weight of its icy past. Geologists accompanying these expeditions uncover Svalbard's volatile underbelly through seismic instruments and satellite data. The archipelago experiences more than 1,000 earthquakes each year, most too small to be felt, but collectively telling a powerful story. These tremors are largely driven by isostatic rebound, a geological response to rapid glacier retreat. As ice mass vanishes, sometimes meters per year in thickness, the Earth's crust rises, fracturing rock, and reactivating ancient fault lines formed during past tectonic collisions. In some regions of Spitsbergen, uplift now exceeds 1 centimeter per year, among the fastest rates recorded anywhere on the planet. At the forefront of Arctic science stands Ny-Ålesund, the world's northernmost permanent research settlement at 79 degrees north. Once a coal mining outpost, it is now a global hub for climate research, hosting scientific teams from 11 nations, including Norway, Germany, China, Italy, and South Korea. Here, permafrost observatories drill meters into frozen ground, tracking temperature, moisture, and gas release. Findings from 2025 monitoring data reveal that active layer thaw depths are increasing by roughly 10 centimeters per decade, accelerating the release of methane trapped for millennia, a greenhouse gas over 25 times more potent than carbon dioxide over a 100-year period. This thaw does not merely respond to climate change, it amplifies it, forming a dangerous feedback loop: wildlife. Biologists document how Arctic species adapt, sometimes just barely, to this shifting ground. The Svalbard reindeer, the smallest subspecies of reindeer on Earth, are uniquely adapted to extreme scarcity. Short-legged and stocky, they conserve energy with slow metabolisms and accumulate fat reserves that can reach up to 50% of their body mass during winter. Feeding primarily on lichens and mosses scraped from beneath snow, they survive conditions that would starve most herbivores. Yet climate instability threatens this balance. Increasingly frequent rain-on-snow events, where winter rain freezes into ice crusts, seal off forage beneath impenetrable layers, causing starvation events that have already led to localized population crashes. Svalbard's silence also carries echoes of those who came before, humans drawn north by ambition, profit, and obsession. The recorded history of the archipelago begins in 1596, when Dutch navigator Willem Barents sighted its mountains while searching for the Northeast Passage. He named the largest island Spitsbergen, meaning pointed mountains, a stark first impression that has endured for centuries. Word of these icy seas spread quickly, and by the early 17th century, Svalbard became the epicenter of one of Europe's first industrial-scale enterprises: Arctic whaling. English, Dutch, and French fleets established seasonal stations along the coast, the most infamous being Smeerenburg, Blubber Town. At its height, this settlement housed up to 200 men who labored day and night rendering whale blubber into oil used to light Europe's cities. The conditions were brutal. Smoke from boiling vats blackened the snow, scurvy-ravaged crews and polar bears, drawn by the scent of carcasses, were a constant threat. Within decades, overhunting collapsed the whale populations, and Smeerenburg was abandoned, its ruins slowly reclaimed by ice and silence. In the 18th and 19th centuries, Norwegian and Russian trappers replaced the whalers, overwintering alone or in pairs in crude wooden huts to hunt walrus, Arctic fox, and seals. Their handwritten diaries, many preserved in Norwegian archives, speak of profound isolation, hallucinations during the polar night, and survival sustained by seal blubber lamps and frozen meat. Some never returned. Graves still dot the tundra, unmarked but not forgotten. Today, scientists and travelers walk among these remnants not as conquerors, but as witnesses. Svalbard no longer tests human endurance through domination, but through understanding. Its earthquakes, thawing ground, and shifting ecosystems are not distant abstractions. They are measurable, accelerating signals from one of Earth's most sensitive regions. Here, the Arctic does not shout its warning. It records it. And those who listen carefully carry its message far beyond the ice. The 20th century ushered in a new breed of polar pioneers, men who challenged the Arctic not with sleds alone, but with boots, daring visions of flight and endurance. In 1897, Swedish engineer Salomon August André launched one of the most tragic expeditions in polar history from Danes Island in northwest Svalbard. His hydrogen balloon, Örnen, the Eagle, was intended to drift across the Arctic Ocean to the North Pole. Poor steering control, ice accumulation on the envelope, and misjudged winds doomed the attempt within days. André and his companions, Niels Strindberg and Knut Frankel, crash-landed on the pack ice and perished after months of struggle. Their remains and haunting photographic records were discovered in 1930 on Kvitøya, offering a sobering lesson in the limits of technological optimism against polar reality. Nearly 3 decades later, Roald Amundsen, already immortalized for reaching the South Pole in 1911, turned his ambitions northward. Svalbard became his Arctic launchpad. After a failed 1925 attempt using flying boats, Amundsen succeeded in 1926, piloting the airship Norge from Ny-Ålesund across the North Pole to Alaska. On May 12, 1926, the expedition became the first verified crossing of the pole, marking the dawn of modern polar aviation and forever anchoring Svalbard in exploration history. These early feats echo into the present. Modern adventurers continue to use Svalbard as a gateway to the Arctic Ocean, though the challenges have changed. In 2019 to 2020, Norwegian explorer Børge Ousland and French adventurer Mike Horn attempted an unsupported winter traverse of the Arctic Ocean, starting from Svalbard. They were forced to evacuate after encountering unprecedented open leads and unstable ice, conditions that would have been rare a century earlier, underscoring how climate change has rewritten the rules of polar travel. Alongside explorers stand Svalbard's modern guardians, wildlife rangers and scientists operating under the governor of Svalbard, Sissel Mesteren, serve as frontline sentinels for Arctic species, especially the polar bear. One incident in 2013, when an emaciated bear died near Ny-Ålesund, became emblematic of a broader crisis. As sea ice retreats earlier each spring and returns later each autumn, polar bears lose access to their primary hunting platform for seals. Long-term studies show bears in the Barents Sea region have experienced measurable declines in body condition and reproductive success as ice seasons shorten. To prevent deadly encounters, authorities conduct proactive interventions, patrolling by helicopter and snowmobile, enforcing strict buffer zones, and relocating bears away from settlements when possible. In recent years, dozens of such interventions annually reflect both rising human activity and increasing bear movement onto land. Culturally, the polar bear holds a near-mythic status across the Arctic. Inuit traditions, though originating outside Svalbard, describe the bear as a spiritual guardian and a being that walks between worlds. This reverence resonates deeply in Svalbard's conservation ethic today. Bears are protected by law, monitored via satellite collars, and studied as living indicators of Arctic change. Since the 1970s, Svalbard has warmed several times faster than the global average, with winter temperatures in particular rising dramatically, making it one of the most rapidly warming regions on Earth. In this shifting climate, the polar bear stands as both symbol and sentinel, a reminder that the Arctic's silence is not emptiness, but warning. Our expedition crests at a midnight sun vigil, a transcendent encounter with time suspended beneath Svalbard's unsetting sky. From April 19th to August 23rd, the sun never dips below the horizon in Longyearbyen, circling endlessly at low angles, casting a soft amber light that dissolves the boundary between day and night. Under this perpetual glow, the Arctic grows quieter, not emptier but more attentive, amplifying every sound: the distant crack of a calving glacier, the sigh of wind. Across snowfields, the hush of stillness itself. Guided vigils offer a mindful way to experience this phenomenon. In valleys near Temple Fjord, or the plateaus outside Longyearbyen, small group excursions, by dog sled, on foot, or with carefully regulated snowmobile routes, lead travelers into landscapes where human presence fades. As midnight approaches, the sun hovers just above the mountains, washing ice and stone in hues of rose, gold, and pale violet. It is a moment that disorients the clock and sharpens reflection on fragility, endurance, and responsibility. Here, quiet travel is not optional. It is essential. Noise pollution disrupts Arctic wildlife, particularly seabirds and reindeer, whose stress responses increase with engine traffic. Visitors are encouraged to choose low-impact transport, follow strict route guidance, and uphold leave no trace principles in a land where organic material can take centuries to decompose due to cold and permafrost. Even a single omakim footprint can persist for decades. Conservation gives this vigil deeper meaning. 65% of Svalbard is protected, encompassing 7 national parks and more than 20 nature reserves, safeguarding glaciers, tundra, and critical wildlife habitat. Yet threats persist. Marine debris, much of it carried north by ocean currents, accumulates on remote shores. Annual cleanups remove tens of tons of plastic, a sobering reminder that even the high Arctic is not isolated from global consumption. Biosecurity is another growing concern, as invasive species and pathogens increasingly arrive via shipping and warming seas. Scientific expeditions and educational programs reinforce the vigil's message. Organizations such as Polar Bears International and research teams from Ny-Ålesund use field visits to communicate the realities of Arctic change. While Svalbard's glaciers contribute only a small fraction of global sea level rise, on the order of hundredths of a millimeter per year, they serve as critical indicators of a region warming several times faster than the global average, especially in winter. What happens here foreshadows changes elsewhere. In the stillness of the midnight sun, Svalbard speaks softly but urgently. This is not a place to conquer, but to witness. Travel here with intention. Support science, respect limits, and listen closely, because in this luminous silence, the Arctic is telling us how much remains at stake. As Svalbard's whispers dissolve into the eternal light, they leave behind more than memories. They leave a mandate. In silence, there is strength. In restraint, there is renewal. This Arctic realm teaches that the most powerful forces do not shout. They endure. Glaciers speak through millennia, not moments. Wildlife survives through balance, not dominance. And humanity, here at the edge of the inhabitable world, is reminded of its proper scale. To venture to Svalbard is to step into a living archive of Earth's past, and a warning etched in ice about its future. Walk where explorers once gambled their lives against frost and darkness. Listen to the stories carried by wind across abandoned trapper huts and calving glaciers. Stand where scientists measure change in centimeters and degrees, knowing those numbers ripple across the globe. And honor the guardians, rangers, researchers, conservationists, who defend this fragile frontier so that its silence is not lost to neglect. Let the Arctic renew you, not through conquest, but through humility. Travel lightly. Learn deeply. Leave only reverence behind. Because places like Svalbard do not belong to us. We belong to them, briefly, as witnesses. Thank you for joining this polar pilgrimage to the top of the world. Subscribe for more journeys into Earth's last wild places. Until next time, embrace the silence.